right, so you've seen the unboxing. Now it's time for the breakdown. What is using the Apple Vision Pro actually like? This is easily one of Apple's craziest, most radical, possibly dystopian products of all time, and I have a lot of thoughts here. Like, I've been using it for about a week now. There are some parts of this thing that are absolutely incredible and some other parts that feel weird or borderline unfinished. There are all kinds of new technologies, from a new operating system to infrared eye tracking to virtually reconstructed versions of you. I feel like there are so many actually new things that you have to understand in order to get a sense of what this headset actually is and what it does. So I'm going to break this down into two parts. This video is all about using the Vision Pro. It's everything I've learned from the past week of wearing and getting used to this thing every single day. But I'm also working on a more wide-ranging, possibly more existential review video. But let's just start with the more hardware fundamentals, right? Like, what is this thing that I'm holding, literally? Apple Vision Pro, at its core, well, it is a VR headset. Now, Apple would never say that, and they probably won't like that I'm saying that word. You know, I made an entire video about why they refuse to use those words, and they're calling it spatial computing instead. We'll get there. But the truth is, it's a really, really, really high-end virtual reality headset. It's something we've seen before, right? It's got displays and lenses and speakers and fans and buttons, and this is a form factor. This is a thing that we have seen before. But before I even turn this thing on, there are clearly several things that are a little different about this one. So first of all, it's made of metal. Lots of metal and glass here, which are high quality but heavy materials, relatively speaking. So there's this precisely machined aluminum frame around the outside. And yes, those are intakes for fans at the bottom and then vents for those fans at the top. On the right side, there's your digital crown that can be pressed in or turned. And then on the other side is just a single larger button. So kind of basically the same two buttons as an Apple Watch. And then when you get a little further back on this band here, these little pods with downward facing grills, these are speakers, which are pointed straight at your ears and work surprisingly well, though of course it also means that people around you can hear a little bit of what you're hearing. There's a little bit of bleed, and I have a lot to say about spatial audio, so stay tuned for that. But the main event is at the front. There's an enormous piece of glass, which, yes, is very easy to fingerprint and smudge, and then behind that thing there's this outward-facing OLED display and a bunch of sensors all the way around, outside-facing sensors that go forward, sideways, and straight down. There's depth sensors, infrared illuminators, LiDAR scanners, and just regular old RGB cameras, all being processed by an M2 chip and an R1 chip inside this thing. And then maybe the craziest part, inside the headset, there are a bunch more sensors facing your eyes, tracking your eyes in real time for all the eye control and everything that comes with that, and also then to display a representation of your eyes on the outside of the headset. Kinda, we'll get there. But the point is, this, for Apple, made the choice of taking the battery off of the headset, which means, okay, now there's nothing on the back of your head, so you can wear it and lean up against things, and that might be an upside, but that also now means you have to deal with this cable all the time running up to your head, and the fact that it's very front-weighted now. All of the weight is on the front of your face. So this is the battery, as you saw in the unboxing.